أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي من أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني ليفقهوا قولي. الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم. صدق الله العظيم. So, people who don't understand Islam, they don't understand those two verses. The first verse is 3 sentences, and the other verse is a bunch of sentences. It's called Ayat AlKursi, which is translated literally as the verse of the throne of God. And it is told to be, it's told well by a hadith and the Prophet Muhammad that is the best verse of the whole entire Quran. And if you study it enough, it provides the greatest benefits, magical benefits. So I know that people are trying to block what I say and do. That's what this video is about. And that's why I recite these things. And I recite other things. There's a lot of protection that we can get just by saying the names of Allah in a certain way, after prayers, before sleep, different things. I tell everyone the easiest one, a really easy one if you're being attacked a lot, which like I have been attacked for a long time. The really easy one is Allah's name, Al-Muntakim. But you have to say, Ya Muntakim. Al-Muntakim means the annihilator. Some people translate it as the avenger. But it's more correctly translated as the annihilator. So if you say, Ya Muntakim, Ya Muntakim, Ya Muntakim, anyone who is attacking you will get annihilated instantly. You just have to keep repeating it. And then I give people magical knowledge about their God that they don't understand, that He is infinitely powerful. And anything is possible for Him. So if that word protects you from people who are attacking you, and I know that God is infinitely powerful, I will say it. A million Ya Muntakim, to the millionth power. That means a million Ya Muntakim multiplied by itself by another million, by another million, by another million, a million times. And then I even also say an infinite number of Ya Muntakim to the infinite power. No, that's why people always wonder how is it that $100 billion have been spent to try to do character and life assassination attempts on you and none of it has worked. They don't want to believe that. That's just proof that God is real. His power is real. He controls everything. He controls me talking. He knew exactly what I was going to say, and he experienced this exact moment who knows how many times before it ever happened. Whatever you do, that's another one of Allah's names. Al-Khabir, which is the experienced. That means He experiences everything that we do. So this video right now, it's as if He's right here with us. And like I believe it's in the Quran, it says, verily Allah is closer to you than your own jugular veins. So people need to understand that your life is not independent from your God. And even before you existed, He already knew exactly what you were going to do. He knew exactly how I was going to say. He knew I was going to do this. He knew I was going to drink this. He knew everything. Nothing's new. So I talk a lot about Allah, and because like a lot of the things atheists say against their God just proves that they're dumb enough to be put in hell forever. They're just not smart. They don't understand. They don't want to understand. So what are we talking about here? I am I am a scholar of Islam, the best I could be, being raised here in America, and I talk about racism happening amongst Muslim people in America, which is sad to say that almost all the Muslims I've known here have been racist to me, even my own people, because I'm like a religiously practicing person. So, like, I have a beard, and they're like, "Ugh, stay away from him. Don't marry him. He's gonna be like extreme." Like, all this Islamophobia stuff is affecting our own people. What they don't understand is that, for example, I'm rated like one of the top 1% of fathers right now. And how is that possible? Well, let's say it more correctly. I'm rated one of the top 1% of divorced fathers, because 60% of fathers after divorce completely lose all custody with their kids for life, for all life. They never talk to them. They never do anything to support them. They never give them any inheritance. Nothing. That's 60% of them. Uh, and as a divorced father, having never missed a visitation with my son and constantly working for him, and I don't even get, he doesn't even come to visitations. I have to go to a therapist. I have to go sit with a therapist person who's like just watching us, just to make sure, just to watch what I say, what I don't say, like to control what I say and what I do and all this stuff. But like the mother is part of the character attacks. Was that she was part of a $10 billion operation. So part of her character attack is not just to marry me, have a kid, but also to try to kill me 4 times, steal all my stuff, steal my house, get American citizenship, because she came from Indonesia, and then also steal my invention, which that was the whole point of the $10 billion. And a man named Nabil Khan, who she knew and she was friends with, he was on her Facebook. He was in charge of it all, and anybody can look it up on WikiLeaks. So sometimes I think kind of sad, like about how much science I've done in my life and how many things I've developed, and now all I talk about is trying to stay alive. It just seems like people don't want to hear that. And it's like my story is Nikola Tesla's story. Why did he die broke, alone, and never get married in a whole different country, running away from the United States? I'll just say because nobody paid attention to what he was doing. Nobody supported him. So I'm living Nikola Tesla. I did what Nikola Tesla did, but I actually made it part of the earth and made it happen. So I escaped the attempted destruction. I'm just smart enough to survive, and I'm living Nikola Tesla. I've done all his stuff. I brought free energy. I brought anti-gravity. I brought ways to travel all through space. Like I tell people, when Stephen Hawkins in his deathbed videos and his deathbed book, which is all about fractal gear field theory, he basically admitted everything I used to say and people used to mock what I say. Like, for example, he said in 3 years, this is on a Smithsonian network, he's got a table filled with fractal gears, and he's talking all about my science. And he said, within 3 years, we will be able to travel anywhere in the universe. And since I'm his best student, I am. Even though I didn't know him, I am his best student. I've been studying him as #1 scientist for more than 40 years. Since I was 12. And he didn't say my name because I tell people like to study this book by Michio Kaku. It's called Fantastic Plastic, or Plastic Fantastic. And it's basically about how scientists try to take credit for stuff that they didn't really develop, or they try to make up developments that don't really exist in order to get money to build it up and stuff, but they just made it up to begin with. So, Plastic Fantastic, or Fantastic Plastic by Michio Kaku. People should read this, because that's actually what's happening with me. Like, a lot of scientists just mocked me for decades, said, you're wrong. Who are you? What degrees do you have? All what you're saying isn't going to work. We looked at it, we analyzed it, that's never going to work, all this stuff. Later, they were all proved wrong. Most of them just completely abandoned talking to me. Some of them admitted they were wrong, and they said, keep up the good work. So that was a minority group. So not everyone is in the same book. So people can analyze a bunch why they didn't say my name, but that's kind of the essence of this whole video. It's actually really simple to understand it. Like, Islamophobia and Islamophobic efforts have been produced by, say, primarily by the Christian religion and the Jewish religion for a long time. So I am not the first Muslim scientist to produce really great stuff and not be known. In fact, many people might find this hard to believe. You're going to have to talk to college professors. But all of the top science, all the top science which exists now, was produced by Muslims long ago. For example, I'll give an example. The first person to fly was a Muslim guy who did it like almost 1,000 years before Leonardo da Vinci figured it out. And Leonardo da Vinci figured it out by reading his book. He mentioned that guy's name. He said I learned from him. So he drew a plane that actually flies. And that Muslim guy who was the first to ever fly, I think he was from Iraq. He died testing one of his flight things, but he was flying. People know he was flying. And then when he died, a lot of his knowledge and stuff about how to make it happen disappeared. Wars happened. People forgot everything. The first person to discover blood flow was also a Muslim. Like 600 years before the person they tell you that did discover it. So if you look on Wikipedia, who discovered blood flow. It's a European white guy. But also, like, if you read that European white guy's stuff, he said, I got ideas from this Muslim guy who wrote this stuff. But they never tell you that on the news. They never tell you in the media. This is part of the Islamophobic attacks that have been happening forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. So this is why, if you're a top scientist and you're looking for the top theories, and I got it, you haven't called me. You haven't texted me. My videos are being blocked. I don't know. Like, nobody's commenting on these videos. I'm thinking if everybody hates me and everybody doesn't agree or like what I say, I should get a ton of negative comments. I get zero. I get zero like comments where you're ugly, you're stupid, you're wrong. Nothing like that. I don't get the positive or the negative. So I know it's all being blocked, but they don't understand that I'm 50 years old. Me and my friends, we built the internet. Like, I would have been Mark Zuckerberg. We built the internet. We used to do dial-up stuff, and we had a network. I think it was called Bulletin Board. I can't remember, but we had our own network. And I remember once downloading a full graphics picture onto my DOS thing, and I was so amazed. I was like, oh my god, I downloaded a whole picture. This is amazing. And oh, I can increase the quality too. I can even download a whole video. So let me work on downloading a whole video now. And me and a bunch of friends, we were on this chat room. That was basically our internet. You had to dial up on it with your modem because there was no high-speed internet then. And again, I didn't progress forward in a lot of that stuff because of racist things. A lot of racist stuff. So, for example, like, when I dropped out of college, I went and got, from the college, I got a certification in C++ programming and Unix administration, and another certificate, 2 certificates. So, that was at a time when programming was high demand, and then I would apply everywhere, and nobody would hire me. And then, one place I got hired as a temp guy just to do like random check work, like checking your schedule. Did you come on work on time? Just I'd go through the list of 1,000 people, and I'd have to do all this, and I was like, wait, I can use Visual Basic to make this whole job a push of a button. So I did that. I used Visual Basic to do my whole job. So every day I would go into work, it's an 8-hour job. I was like, oh, okay. Click, 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 enter. Boom, job is done. Then management's like, what? We never see you work. How are you getting this work done? I said, oh, I wrote a program and I programmed it. They said, oh, you're a programmer? I'm like, yeah, I learned Visual Basic here. I actually didn't study Visual Basic, but I just learned it because actually all programming languages are the same. And I studied mathematics and all this stuff. I went to college and I'm certified in all this. And so they put me in a programming job to start programming everybody's job away. And right away, I get like a lot of hate and a lot of people who want me fired. They think that I shouldn't be doing that job. I'm not qualified. I said, no, I practically graduated from college. I just didn't graduate because they kicked me out of college for not cheating. They kicked me, the NCAA hired me as a tutor to cheat for athletes who can't read and can't do math. People who get 4.0 college degrees in microbiology and stuff, and they can't even read. College professors cheat for them too. So like, there's a lot of conspiracy going on in these colleges and universities, and they basically stopped my financial aid, got me kicked out of college because this was like in 1996 or something like that, and back then you couldn't just fire somebody. You would get a big old lawsuit, racism lawsuit, all this stuff. So what they would do, they had people working with them inside the financial aid place, and they forcibly stopped my financial aid on my last year in college. So I would have graduated that year with a bachelor's degree in mathematics. I originally wanted to do physics, but then again, racism struck a lot. The teachers of physics have a problem with Islamic guy like me with a big beard studying how to build nuclear weapons. They just have a problem. They don't want me there. They don't want you there. Yeah, you could do excellent on the test, get the top grade in the test, and get an F. They just want to fail you. So then I changed my my degree. I said, well, if they got a problem with me studying physics, I'll just change my degree. I'll just do mathematics, and I'll just study physics on the side. And then what's the number one job in mathematics at that time? Encryption. How to encrypt computer encryption and stuff. That's like everybody who's getting a job graduating from mathematics is doing encryption, like cryptocurrency and stuff like that. And that's why I was one of the first people on cryptocurrency right away back in 2012 before anybody else. I did get paid. Finally got some money from that. It was lost for almost a decade, more than a decade, and I got it. So you can figure out how much money that is. It's in the millions, and it's been lost. And again, in the Quran it says, "In Allah yansuru, what is it? Yansuru Allah. In tansuru Allah yansurukum. In tansuru Allah yansurukum." It says that in the Quran. So if and or when, if or when, you can pick which word you want to use. When you help God, He helps you. God really doesn't need anybody's help. He doesn't need your help, but you take the effort to support Him in the sense that He wants everyone to go to heaven, and He doesn't want people to go to hell. It really makes no difference to Him whether you go to heaven or hell. Except He prefers that you have good stuff. That's why He gives you these rules. Do this, don't do that. Do this, don't do that. Because it creates the best in your life and the best in the life of everybody around you. So it's like the best result scenario. And as far as Leonardo da Vinci, when I developed fractal gear field theory, I basically proved that Leonardo da Vinci wasn't as smart as we thought he was. He was actually going to the Vatican going inside, down in the hidden books that they took from all these countries. Because when they invaded these countries and took all their gold and money and everything, they also took their ancient resources and they buried them under the Vatican. So I proved using fractal gear field theory that Leonardo da Vinci wasn't really that smart. He was just a reverse engineer. So like when he first invented the airplane, 1,000 years after a Muslim was already flying, he just got the books that were taken. He read them. He got them figured out, and then he made a new science. So people will say the same thing about Isaac Newton, is that he's the greatest scientist, physicist, whatever. If you just see how fast he solved some of the hardest problems, like all the physicists are trying thousands of years to solve this problem. He's trying to figure out something about planets. They said, how come they do elliptical curves? How come they're not circles? He said, oh, I don't know. I'll go figure it out. He goes home and he does some stuff, and he comes back with the answer. Boom, this is why. Here it is right here. And he developed new mathematics. Overnight. New mathematics, which is top mathematics to this day. Like he developed calculus. He developed, like people say that, but really what I believe is since he was connected to the Vatican, he was going down and reading these books that Muslim people wrote. And then he would take it, translate it, and say he figured it out. Which is exactly what's happening to me with fractal gear field theory when someone like Stephen Hawking, who's the greatest physicist in the world, he comes and he reveals my stuff and then he ends up dead. Sometimes I think he got murdered for talking about it. He wasn't supposed to talk about it. And also tell people that his last book was The Fractal Universe, which they banned forever. So I tell everybody, if you want to know what the fractal universe is all about, you have to study what I put out, what I talk about. Like people should be on this video to understand what's in that book, The Fractal Universe. So if they ban the fractal universe, then this video might be getting banned too. Somebody should at least comment and say, you're ugly, you're retarded, you're wrong, I don't agree with you. At least. Like if people don't believe what I'm saying, I should at least get those comments. Like if they have once they get AI good enough, they'll ban you, and then they'll get an AI to start commenting with you all the time, so that you don't know that you're banned. Because I make, like, I got, let's say, 2 years of videos on here, and not a single comment, not a single "you're wrong," not a single thing of like, oh, I used your stuff. Like they've come to me in live videos and they've told me all that stuff. But it was always with a new network. It's like the people who are watching me are government people from all over the world, and they know not to be revealed online. So, like for example, they watch a video and I tell them don't comment, and watch from encrypted networks or hidden networks, or watch on this site or that site. Like, because once you start learning, like they're trying to suppress my stuff so much that like once you start learning it, they're gonna come spend billions of dollars to try to kill you too. So a lot of people watch it and this, and they check it out from like basically fake accounts that are at fake addresses and all kinds of weird stuff. Most people aren't aware to do all that. So the people who aren't aware should at least, like they don't believe in anything I'm saying anyway, so they should at least comment like bad comments. But there are no comments. So like it's all like they're all trying to suppress everything. But what's really happening is I anticipated this kind of suppression from day one. From day zero, negative 0.9999. Like, before I even started, I knew this was going to happen. A year into publishing everything, I started asking every day, why am I still alive? Why haven't they killed me yet? And then I secretly tell people that I'm actually pissed off that they didn't succeed in killing me. Like, when you have faith in God and you know that like death is the ultimate adventure, and it's good for you because you have faith, you're eager to die. When you don't have kids, you don't have a family, you're not married, you're all alone most of your life, You're just eager to just get the heck out of here. So now I have kids. I have 2 kids. So I live just for them. I can't just disappear and leave them to suffer. I have to like work. I have to save money. I have to get them funds. I have to try to get them, help them get a house so they can have a wife and kids, and help them go to college and all this stuff. I think that's the problem that modern people have right now, is that too many people are detaching from their kids. Like I told you, 60% of divorced fathers completely abandon their kids within only 2 years, and might be sooner than that. And that's what, like I told you, that makes me one of the top 1% of fathers. And that's all from the lessons that my faith teaches me. That God is gonna account for me, like He's gonna account how I take care of my kids and what I do. And then when your parents do good for you as a child, you have to do good for them when you grow up. Like for example, my parents took care of me when I was little and I couldn't walk and I couldn't find food. They took care of me. So when they get old, when parents get old and they're all handicapped and they're sick and they need help all the time, they need to go to the doctor all the time, the children should be there. They should. But if the parents did not take care of the kids, when they get older, and then they'll try to marry somebody just so that person can take care of them, that person will divorce them as soon as he figures out this is an old person, this marriage is BS, and I spend all my money just to keep them alive, and they're worthless. All kinds of weird stuff is going to happen. But this is the problem with modern people now, is that like I struggle to get married, but then like when the women reach 50 years old, they've already been divorced like 3 times. They can't have kids anymore. All kinds of stuff. Then they want to come and get married to me. I'm like, why would I want to marry a 50-year-old? I want to marry someone who can have kids, and I can have a family, and we can have a family together, and that's the whole point of marriage. Marriage isn't just about sex. In terms of sex, a lot of people don't know. Like me, most of my life, I have what's called wet dreams. So, like, if I didn't have sex for a long time, I'll have a dream. There'll be like a woman in the dream. She'll be gorgeous, and I'll have sex with her in the dream. And then I'll wake up. I have to take a shower because I ejaculated on myself by accident. So like, it's not masturbation. It's just a dream. Like you're actually having sex in the dream, and then the physical result of sexuality happens. So now I'm 50 years old. That almost never happens. It almost never happens anymore. And a lot of people didn't know that I smoked cigarettes for a long time just to deal with sex drive. Like I could have just got married. When I was married, I did not smoke. For almost 10 years I didn't smoke. But the whole purpose of me smoking cigarettes is it actually kills your sex drive. A lot of people don't know that. I knew that. And then I also through a therapist, have been forced to take medication for CPTSD, which is complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And I grew up in the projects, and then after I left the projects at age 13, 14, I went to all-black school. So a lot of gangsters there. All my friends were gangsters. So, and it was in the projects, different projects. So I had a bad upbringing, and then I had like almost 2 decades worth of fractal gear field theory where I'm constantly being attacked. So complex post-traumatic stress disorder is worse than post-traumatic stress disorder. Post-traumatic stress disorder just happens from one thing. One bad thing happens to you. So like you're in a war overseas, and you and your buddies are walking, you're laughing, and all of a sudden somebody comes and he stabs your friend and chops him in half, and right in front of you. And then he's coming after you, but you escaped. So then you're going to have PTSD the rest of your life. I worked with a guy like that. A guy who went to war in Afghanistan. One time I tried to talk to him. They ended up having to call the ambulance. He almost had a heart attack. He was like... He just almost died. He learned Farsi language. He became a translator. But... just because I look like the people he was in battle with, they had to call the ambulance. I thought he was going to die. he basically said, I'm going to have a heart attack. My heart's going to stop. Call the ambulance. Tell somebody to call the ambulance right now. That's just from me trying to talk to him. And then I also I tell my mom I miss Egypt, where I come from. And I tell her this one experience I had. This was like right after 9/11, like about a year after 9/11 or something like that. So it was a weird experience that really changed my thinking in my life. So I was in Egypt walking, and these kids were playing soccer, and the ball kicked out of their area, and it came really close to me. It came right close to my feet. I could have just kicked it back, but I didn't. And then I was upset at myself that I didn't. Why didn't you just kick that back? But like a lot of people don't understand how Islamophobia in America has been to me. That it's like this. I'm in the Walmart. I see a small kid. He's a toddler. He's only like 3 or 4 years old, and he sees me, and he's like, "Mama!" And he runs. He runs to Mama. "I've seen a bad man. I'm scared of him." So that would happen all the time. So in America. Nowadays, it doesn't happen so much. After the wars that happened, and Islamophobia is kind of going down a little bit. But so when I didn't kick the ball to those guys. In Egypt, they're little kids. They're playing soccer, and they came and got the ball. They said, "What's wrong with you? Why didn't you just kick the ball? Is there something? Something's wrong with you?" And then when they talked to me like that, it was so shocking. I'm used to little kids being scared of me, running away, crying. If I kicked the ball, they would get their dad. He would come and beat me up. I don't want to touch nothing of their stuff. So I just stood there for 5 minutes. After they said that, I said, "Why didn't you kick the ball back? There's something wrong with you." It was right there by you. You just let the ball roll away. And they were like, "You saw the ball. You looked at it." So I just sat there for 5 minutes, and I was so confused. I was like, "Oh my God, these kids here are not scared of me." And I sat there for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, the kids come up to me and say, "You didn't kick the ball when it came next to you, and then you stood there for 5 minutes. There's something wrong with you, old man." That's what they said. "There's something wrong with you." And I said, "Oh, have a good time, have fun. I was just watching how you guys played, see how if you're good or not." I just made that up, which it was true. It wasn't really a lie, but that wasn't really why I stood there for 5 minutes. I stood there in shock that kids here are not scared of me. So that like shocks my mother, and it shocks people who listen to this video, of how much hatred there's been towards an Islamic person like me, because I look Arabic and I have a beard, and I might actually look just like Osama bin Laden. I might, because my grandfather and many of my ancestors were from Saudi Arabia, just like Osama bin Laden was from Saudi Arabia, and everybody from Saudi Arabia, almost all of them look exactly alike. But why the kids are scared of me is because the media is run by Israel. The media here in the United States. That's how they control all you people. So Islamophobic ideas are spread by Israel, by the media. So the kids see the bad guys in the movies look like me all the time. Like maybe back in the 80s, the bad guys were always Russian. And maybe if you were Russian, you had a hard time. I don't know. I don't remember that though, because Russians look just like everybody else. But Arab looking with a beard and you look like Bin Laden. It's kind of tough. The example of this is I was in the Islamic prayer area one time, and there was a guy that walked in who looked exactly like what's his name? The guy of Iraq, Saddam Hussein. He looked exactly like him. I'm like, "Oh my God, you guys!" I'm just thinking to myself. I didn't want to say nothing. I think Saddam Hussein just walked in here. I swear to God, that's Saddam Hussein. I think that's Saddam Hussein. He came to America because they've been looking for him. He was hiding under some tower or something. I was like, that's why they can't find him. He's right here in America. There he is. He's right there. And then, but that's what I was just thinking. I didn't want to say it out loud. All I saw everybody in the Islamic prayer area looking at him very strangely, and being kind of afraid, like, oh my God, Saddam Hussein just walked into this room in America. He's in America. He's hiding in America, and that's why they can't find him. That's what I was thinking. That's probably what they were thinking. But when I walked away from there, my main thing I thought about, the only thing I really thought about is that guy probably never gets jobs. He's probably never going to get hired here. Uh, he's probably going to leave the country. He's going to be forced to leave the country. He looks too much like Saddam Hussein. Or he's going to have to go get plastic face surgery or something. But that's how Islamophobic stuff happens. And that's why people don't know about the science that I do. It's like Islamophobia doesn't want to admit that the most sought after and most productive and most valuable theory of all of physics and science has been brought by a Muslim today, who's been attacked his whole entire life. The people here tried to stop him from learning. They tried to stop him from getting degrees, stop him from working. And then when he finally published all his work that he did, then they tried to destroy his ability to have a business. So like they go on Google, they make my business not show up on the Google results. This is happening right now. Like let's say I have a Google phone, like a phone. It doesn't ring anymore. I used to get like 3-4 customers a day calling every day. Nobody's calling at all, like all month long. And what's going on? Because company calls me and says you're not turning up in search results. You're not turning up in voice search results. Your business is just not showing up. I was like, what? That's the first time in like 20 years. What? And this was right after the attempt on me to do the character and life assassination at the end of 2023, where they actually destroyed my phones, they started destroying my computers. They came in my garage, they destroyed my work equipment. This is while they trapped me at their house. I kept telling them every day, just give me. I can't find my keys. Well, I don't know who took my keys. I never lose my keys. They stole my keys. But every day they're coming to my house back and forth. But they would never depart me from their house to come to my own house, which I own. I don't have payments on this house. So, and they know that like, if I stay at their house, I'm deadly allergic to their dogs. They've known that for 8 years. So they were trying to kill me with dog allergies, and that's part of the character assassination too. So they also tried to inject me with 20 STDs with one shot up my butt. It failed just because of Angel's help. Otherwise, I would have all 20 STDs right now. The angels told me. Angels told me that that's what they did, and then they saved me. But I already knew that that's what they did. I already sensed it. I already knew that they fed me poisoned dog food. Like, it's dog food, and they put poison on it. Watch other videos about this. And it was my own family. Because they always use my own family, and they used the op ex-wife. She was part of it. So it was, and they even used one of my brothers. One of my brothers was involved. And then they tried to give him a deadly cancer so that he would die. So then when they get paid, they don't have to actually share with him. So they used my own brother to try to kill me, and then they tried to kill him so that he wouldn't get any money. It's like some evil Pharaoh shit. Like what Pharaoh did to people in the time of Moses. That's what they do to me. But I defeat them. But it's not a happy life to go through this all the time and have to constantly try to survive, try to win, and then think about taking care of my kids. It's not easy, and it's not happy. I'm more happy than an average person would be, just because I have faith in God, and I know that this life is not the important life. That's all there is to that. I know that all the suffering I go through now, I'm getting massive rewards for it in the next life. So when you see me in the next life, you're going to see I'm the richest person there. I'm like the Bill Gates of the afterlife. And or the Elon Musk of the afterlife, and then people are like, "How did this happen?" And then they get to know my story, and then they're gonna be sad. They're gonna be sad to hear it, and they're gonna ask to stop hearing about it, and they're just gonna walk away, and they're like, "Yeah, that's why. That's why he got so much. He suffered so much for us, for the world, just to make things work out, make things the best for everybody." And he was attacked in the worst possible way. Nobody alive here, standing before us in the afterlife, can come close to the suffering he had to go through to make all this happen.